Hi, my name is Sheila Grammo and I'm from Charlestown, West Virginia, which is like the eastern panhandle of West Virginia. I was born and raised in a Pentecostal church. I remember pretty much teething on the pews, singing all the hymns, knowing all the hymns by the time I was 12. When I first got saved, I was 6, and specifically I remember after I got saved, the next day when I went into church, I was running around asking everyone, do you believe in God? Do you believe in God? Do you know where you're going to go after you die? And I had that die-hard passion that I wanted to make sure everyone that I knew and everyone that I came in contact with would see me in the next life when we die and we get to heaven, which is our ultimate goal. That's what we should want to do with the rest of our life. We should have that passion for each person that comes into our lives. When I started getting older, I started to realize that church was taking up a lot of time. Not specifically for me, but specifically for my family. And my dad was never around. He was the worship leader, and he kind of lost sight of what being the worship leader was. He was there to please the people, and he put God first, work second, and then family was somewhere towards the bottom, and that started to hurt. It was a tough time for my family because my mom was getting frustrated. He would be at work and then he would go spend hours at the church, and it just wasn't a good time for my family. So from about the age of 10 to like 17, it wasn't good. I kept going to church camp, kept telling myself, it's not God's fault that my dad's always in church, but the devil kept telling me, it's not your fault, it's obviously God's fault. So I completely started to rebel. At the age of 13, I got into drugs. I started looking to other guys, men, for the love that my father would give me. And what I didn't realize was that I did have the love of the Father, but he was greater and more powerful than any other earthly father that I could ever want. And I had forgotten the feeling that I had gotten when I was 6, and the love for the people around me that I had gotten when I was 6, when I had first gotten saved. Around the age of 14, I made some really, really big mistakes, and my parents started finding out, and they started punishing me, and I started to hate them, which just kept adding on to everything that was wrong. Finally, in 2010, I believe, I went to a church camp, and the theme was called Rebel, and we had a great speaker. His name is Cornell Jordan, and the theme verse was Romans 12:2, which was, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, and then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." That was the year my life turned around. I realized that I didn't need to rebel against my parents. I didn't need to rebel against God, that I needed to start rebelling against the forces of evil that were in this world. When I realized that, everything changed. I confronted my dad about how I felt. I told my mom about how I felt and all the things that I had done. And after coming clean, it wasn't like an overnight change. It took time to become unaddicted to drugs. It took time to become unaddicted to the pleasures of this world, but it happened. And I cannot express to my family now how much I love them, to my church family for putting up with me for all those years. But I know I'll never forget when I was 17 going to church camp and being filled with the Spirit and finally realizing the love that I had from a Father who was greater than any earthly father I could have asked for.